95% gameplay. They don't want to talk about the gameplay and the bond we build with these dogs and how much time we spend by putting into this foundation of trust between me and the dog before I start using discipline. This discipline is a necessity. Unfortunately, if I could train dogs with love and affection and no discipline at all, would I use it? Of course I would. Discipline comes in many forms, and first I've got to build a relationship with that dog. And if I don't build the relationship, when I use the discipline, all depending on the temperament of the dog, it can affect the dog's character. If you have a very soft dog and you put discipline in too soon, you can knock it back. As simple as that. And sometimes you've got to let those soft dogs come out of themselves and develop and become slightly naughty before you start putting some control back into them. And when we talk about discipline and control, people instantly think punishment, evil, not the way to train dogs. Dogs respond well from punishment if they understand how to turn pressure on and turn pressure off. And that's what we've got to teach them. But first we tap into gameplay. The social bond between me and the puppy is so important. This puppy wants to be with me because it has fun with me. If I was doing nothing but suppressing the dog, bullying the dog into repetition at this stage, the trust would go between me and the dog. And what I'm doing is building that strong foundation of the desire to retrieve. With the retrieve, I can get so much out of the dog. This is Sean's dog. He loves to retrieve. We don't do it every day, but when we do it, he wants to play the game. That's important. I want him to want to play the game, not force him to play the game. There comes the odd time when you just have to step up and use discipline on a dog to show the dog what you want it to do. But first we tap into this, the gameplay. If we don't tap into the gameplay, the dog doesn't know how to turn off the pressure. Then when we do turn the pressure onto the dog, let's just take force retrieving. I don't like force retrieving any dog. But if a client is paying you to train his dog, he doesn't want to get rid of it, he wants it trained. He doesn't want to say, oh, that dog's not going to make the grade. He wants it trained. As simple as that. And that's what we have to do. We have to put the work into the dog and build the foundation. And then if we're going to have to use discipline at a later age, say the dog refuses to hold on to it, we can force the dog and we can teach the dog by holding on to it. There'll be no discomfort. I want you to please me. And that's what I want the dog to do from the start. I want the dog to want to play the game and not force it. But on the odd occasion I have to. And on the odd occasion I have to show discipline to the dog. We've moved forward so much in training over the years. Everything used to be robotic obedience. Now it's gameplay. So many trainers who get success use gameplay to a massive part of their training. I'm not bribing this dog with food, but in a minute I'm going to actually use food at the end of the training session so the dog remembers next time it comes out. Not only did I have the fun of the chase, and that's what I'm tapping into at the moment, the fun of the chase. The dog is doing it because it wants to do it. It's not been trained to do this. This is because the dog wants to do it. And then I can build on that with the training. Look how the dog is focused on me, wants to see what I'm doing, wants to be with me. Every movement I make, the dog follows. I've not trained the dog to follow. The dog automatically wants to follow because the gameplay comes from me. I'm elevating him now. Instead of sitting on the placeboard myself all the time, he's getting on the placeboard, voluntary, because he likes the game. It's the gameplay that we're tapping into. 1 minute we're training this dog on the concrete, and the next minute we're training the dog in the grass out in the back. It's so important that you train the dog on concrete as well as grass. Less distraction on concrete. I'm using the pasteboard to elevate the dog so he can come up to my level. I'm praising him when he brings it in. It's all to do with touch at that point, but not pressure of making him sit and stay. He's automatically sitting because he likes the fuss I do to him in front of him. He's learning for association. When he gets bored, we stop the game. Some dogs will do 2 to 3 retrieves, and other dogs would do retrieve after retrieve after retrieve. They're all different, and you've got to tap into the desire to get them to want to play the game, and the game stops if they stop. Simple as that. And then they learn. And we talk about how long do you do this for? Well, each dog's different. Some dogs you do it for 2 minutes, some dogs you do it for 10 minutes. This video was a 15-minute video. Yes, I've edited it a little bit. Look at the desire. He's chasing the movement. He's making that decision. He's come up onto the placeboard. He's give it to me and I've stroked him. And I'm making friends with him. It's so important, that bond you get with your little dog at this stage. This is a kennel dog. This isn't an indoor dog. This is a kennel dog. And some come on better than others. It's as simple as that. It's potluck. It's sheer potluck. You can do the same thing, and sometimes you have to take a different direction in your training. If you notice, he's dropped it, and I'm not saying nothing. He's going to look round and he's going to pick it up, and he's going to make the decision that the game doesn't continue, look, unless I pick it. So look at him, like he's thinking, oh, I'll pick it. He comes across there and drops it down the other side. He comes off the placeboard, picks it there, and comes back onto the placeboard and places it there to me, look. So I'm not forcing him. I'm coaxing him. I'm playing a game with him. He comes up to me. He jumps up at me. I don't push him down. He comes onto the placeboard and sits next to me. He parks his backside without even being told. He wants to play the game. So now what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm scattering food in front of him. I'm scattering treats in front of him on the floor to get his head down and let him just hunt and eat it. So he's having fun again, but I'm not rewarding him for anything he's done for me other than we're building that partnership together. So by scattering the food in front is making him put his head down, use his nose and hunt for it and eat it. But I don't do it all the time. But what he'll do, he'll remember this next time he comes out, and he'll think, yeah, we do the retrieving and then we have the food. So I tap into the food afterwards, not at the time. And what I'm doing, I'm scattering it because I want him to use his nose. I want him to actually hunt, and I want him to hunt concrete. So by scattering the food in front of him, it makes him put his nose down and hoover up the concrete, looking for the food. It's the first stages of hunting. We're just tapping into that primal motivator of the food. Everything is done calm and quietly. No screaming, no shouting, and just pushing the food out in front. Follow the hand, but then use your nose and find the food. And I'm only scattering 4 or 5 pieces at one time. Then I'm stroking him, praising him for what he did, jinking the bag around, but he's going to get the food when it hits the floor. It's going to make him put his nose down and hunt. There we go. Putting the food out, and he's got to hunt for it. If he doesn't put his nose down, he won't find it. As simple as that. And that way, the dog wants to be with me. He's conditioning himself to want to be with me because I'm the fun element. So when I move off the placeboard, he'll come with me. He'll follow me. So directional. I'm not saying come here. Wherever I go, he comes with me. And that's important. And we go back to the retrieving. That's a little fluffy teddy bear. And then we give him a dummy. Then we give him a ball. We want him to carry as many different things as possible. We want to play the game. And as you can see now, he's now getting bored. He's not picking it up and giving it to me. Is he looking for food? Not worried. But what I'm saying is, right, if you don't want to play the game stops. As simple as that. We've got enough retrieves out of him in this session. And that will do. See? He's like, I'm more interested in the food now. So the food is a distraction. But we did the food at the end of the training and then see what he wants to do with that one retrieve. Look, there he goes. And he broke away from it. So all I do is I'll pick it and I'll say to him, no problem, end of. We'll finish that game. And look what he does. He sits and waits. I've not taught him to sit and wait. I walk this way, he follows me. I walk the other way, he follows me. I change direction, he comes with me. If we go in the garden, he'll follow me. And he just wants to be with me for that gameplay. I don't call him to come into the kennel. He automatically walks back into the kennel with me. His kennel is his security. It's his bolt hole. But the dog loves to be with me.